Hi, if you're following my channel, you'll know that I've recently picked up a few Delta fountain pens from Marti Medina over in Italy. The first one I've already done sort of an unboxing and first impressions, and that's the New Gallery, or Nuovo Galleria, which is this chap here. This is a very nice pen. It's a cartridge converter, and it's got the fusion nib on there. So if you want to find out more about that pen, please check out the video I've posted on that. But the reason why I started shopping and looking at those pens was all about this one down here, the Dolce Vita. This really is the star of the show, and we're going to take a first look at that in this video. Coming up shortly, a couple of reviews on a 2-pen case and 1-pen slip, which Marti Medina were kind enough to throw into the package. But as I say, all about this pen. Now this pen, if you're into fountain pens and you follow the YouTube fountain pen community, you'll probably know about Matt at the Pen Habit. Really like his videos, very professionally done, and he introduced me through his videos to this pen and to this company. So let's take a look at it. As I say, it really is the star of the show. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful pen, probably the most attractive pen I've ever had. Let's put that to one side. Quite in your face. It's orange and black, but as I say, it really is a stunner. So here it is in the case here. Try and avoid getting my reflection all over it, you don't want to see that. Beautiful presentation. We won't spend too much dwelling on that, but you'll have seen it in my earlier video for the New Gallery. But really fantastic presentation. One thing I didn't point out was the little bottle of ink you get in it. Again, don't know the origin of it, who makes it. This is actually a black ink, but the label matches the product, which I thought was a really nice touch. It's a nice little orange bottle of ink for the orange pen. So that's one part of the package. The next part of the package is the pen case, but underneath it is tucked the bits and bobs that you'd expect to see. You've got the identifier saying it's a 14 karat solid gold nib, which we'll take a look at in a minute. You've got a card which confirms that it's 100% Italian made. You've got some general information which seems to be all their pens about their different filling systems and their international warranty. And then you've got the information specific to the Dolce Vita range. The Dolce Vita range is absolutely huge. It's almost like a sub-brand of its own. And we'll go on to that in a minute, but lots and lots of different variations, lots of different price points it seems, but in the back here you've got the sort of warranty card and the date on which it was sold. So I bought that in early Feb. That's the documentation you get. Then on to the main event, which is of course the pen. As we pointed out before, really interesting presentation. Inconvenient if you want to keep it in here long term, but really striking on the first time. Branded up even to the screws there. Really nice touch, and as I say, it gives a real sense of occasion. Impressive. Makes it feel like you've bought something really top notch. And in the case of this pen, I really do think it is top notch. It's probably one of the most beautiful pens I've ever owned. Not having an extensive pen collection, but in a way, comparing this to the Mont Blanc 149, this is more impressive, and I think this will stay with me in the collection. So this is the Dolce Vita. It is the, I'll remind myself of the name, where's the lid gone? It is the Stantuffo Federico in a fine 14 karat gold nib. The Stantuffo, I believe, refers to it being a piston filler, so it's got an integrated piston rather than a cartridge converter, and the Federico refers to this particular model and the fact that I think it is exclusive to Marti Modena, and it's got this steel laser etched band rather than the normal silver engraved band. So I think that's where the price differential comes, but to be honest, the price differential is absolutely huge. Let's just say if you shop around on their site, look at their auctions, you'll pick up a Dolce Vita for hundreds of pounds less than you would get it from a normal dealer. Definitely worth a look if you find this pen attractive. If you're interested in the Delta range, please check out Marti Modena. So looking at the pen itself, the fit and finish is absolutely great. Obviously this is first impressions, I haven't inked it yet. I have given it a little rinse out, ready to be inked. So taking off the cap, you can see the 14 karat gold nib, the hallmark there on the other side, the F giving it the designation of fine obviously, and I guess that will be rhodium plated. It's got a very attractive little heart shaped breather hole there and goes into a generous black section, which is very comfortable. The weight of the pen gives a great sense of sort of heft, makes it feel substantial. It's impressive to the eye and impressive in the hand. The resin shimmers, it really is very attractive. I don't believe it's translucent, but it really does have a depth of colour in there. It's an ink window, and whilst we're at the ink window, I'll just point out that this is probably the only area where I've got a little bit of a question mark over fit and finish on this pen. There's a slight step where the resin and the window join. And I would have thought that could have been polished out, but that is really the only fit and finish query that I've got on this pen. Elsewhere, the section, lovely, comfortable, the threads perfectly comfortable on the hand, and in fact provide for a very, very positive interaction with the cap. More so than the new gallery, which I'll point out in a second. So moving on to the filler. The filler is accessed through this blind cap here. There's a filler, and you wind it down anti-clockwise, and there's a plunger, and back up the other way. And a particularly notable thing on this pen, and possibly Delta's, but no other pen that I've ever come across, is the fact that as you get to the top of the range of the filler, it's got a little ratchet so you can't overstress it. I don't believe I've ever overstressed a filler, but I think that's just a really nice touch. As is the metal threads on the inside of the blind cap. I think that's really nice. The cap itself is really nice. I like the white engraving, giving the designation of the pen. I've always liked the vintage pens where it's sort of etched into the side. I do quite like that, the Conway Stewarts and such like. So I quite like that. That feels like a bit of an old school touch, having the engravings up there. The clip is springy. It's got this little wheel on it, which I really like. And the finial has got the brand logo, which equally I really like as well. This is perfectly fitted. A couple of items on this pen are notably better than the new Galleria. I'll just go through it by way of comparison. The blind cap on the new Galleria is just threaded resin, which perfectly serviceable, but much nicer having the embedded threads on here. The threads on here, as opposed to there, it doesn't have the positive feel on the lid, on the cap, and equally the only place of real quality control issue I had on this one was the finial wasn't quite flush. You can see it's slightly proud there. So the Dolce Vita definitely has that hugely high-end feel, and it's great. What I would say is that there's been some comment from other reviewers on the visibility of the window here. It's a bit weird. I don't know whether I find that useful, odd, or a design defect. I guess I'll have to try it out, live with it. But you know, the first impressions of this pen are absolutely phenomenal. This is by a huge margin the highlight of my very small collection currently. So what I'll do is I'll get this into rotation. What I'll try and do is something like a 1 month review on it. I'll ink it up, and I'll use what I'm going to use as my standard test ink, which is the Ackermans Royal Blue, partly because it's such a cool bottle, and partly because I've got absolutely shed loads of it. It's a big bottle. Now I believe Ackermans actually use diamine, and I believe it's the same as the Royal Blue here. If anyone could tell me one way or not, that'd be really helpful. But let's just ink it up. If you've not seen this sort of bottle before, check it out. It's really cool, very clever design. I've got a little video on that if you want to take a look. So off with the lid, off with the blind cap, down with the piston, and into the ink. White. So there's the ink in the window there. And that really brings us to the end of the review. I'll be doing a review shortly of the cases. Now that I've got 2 Deltas in rotation, it seems the right time to get those cases out and give it all a go. So probably about a month's time I'll pop back with a review on this and the new Gallery, and I'll tell you what I think. Especially interested to find out how the Fusion nib works. This is a broad nib, which isn't my normal chosen nib, so interesting how I get on with that as well. Okay, hope you find that useful, and please subscribe. Thank you.